Good morning, everyone. March the 13th, 2014. What a difference a day makes. Here's the headline. I'll put the link below. Israeli aircraft hit targets in Gaza after rocket attacks. 29 Islamic Jihad and Hamas sites targeted. U.S. calls heavy barrage on southern Israel reprehensible. UK's Cameron says it's barbaric. Breaking news when we're looking at end-time Bible prophecy and keeping our eye on God's time clock, Israel. The Israeli Air Force launched airstrikes in the Gaza Strip shortly after 10 p.m. last night in retaliation for a massive rocket barrage earlier in the day, the largest of its kind since 2012. Israeli planes struck 29 targets in the Strip. The Army said in a statement. Palestinians said at least 5 strategic points were hit in the coastal enclave, primarily in the areas around the cities of Khan, Yunus, and Rafah. Israel had warned that it would hit back hard at Gaza terror groups after more than 50 rockets were fired at southern Israel. Some reports saying as many as 60 rockets were fired on southern Israel. Among the IF targets were bases of the armed wing of Islamic Jihad, which had claimed the rocket attacks, and Hamas throughout the Gaza Strip. Palestinian witnesses said no Palestinian casualties were initially reported. Earlier, IDF tanks fired shells at targets in the Strip. All of our planes safely returned to their bases, the IDF said. In a statement, the attack was carried out in retaliation for the massive ballistic bombardment of Israeli territory this evening. The IDF will not abide any attempt to harm Israeli civilians and IDF soldiers and will continue to act decisively against anyone who employs terrorism against the state of Israel. Israeli military sources said after the late-night retaliation strikes that Israel would now wait to see how Hamas and Islamic Jihad respond. If there were no further rocket attacks on Israel, the current flare-up would be over. But if there was more rocket fire, Israel would again respond. As of late Wednesday night, the Israeli authorities had not canceled school for children in the south Thursday. Although the rocket fire from Gaza subsided late in the evening, Israel raised a security alert in the south, and residents were told to stay within 15 seconds of rooms reinforced against rockets, and amid indications that the dramatically escalated new round of confrontation was not over. At least 2 rockets from Gaza fell in residential areas, one of them causing light damage. There were no direct injuries, but a Sedrock woman, age 57, was slightly hurt as she ran for cover. If there is no quiet in our south, no quiet for the residents of Israel, there will be noise. Lots of noise in Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said at a joint press conference with his British counterpart, David Cameron, and that's putting it mildly. Cameron called the rocket strikes on Israel barbaric. The U.S. State Department, bear with me, I got a sore wing here. I feel like I've been hit with rocket fire. The U.S. State Department decreed the barrage of rockets from the Gaza Strip on Wednesday, referring to it as reprehensible and stressing that Israel reserves the right to protect its citizens. The United States condemns in the strongest terms today's rocket attacks into Israel by terrorists from the Gaza Strip. Read a statement from spokeswoman Jen Psaki. There is no justification for such attacks. We call for these terrorist attacks to cease immediately. Israel, like any nation, has a right to defend itself. The Islamic Jihad terror group took credit for the attacks, the worst since November of 2012, saying they were a retaliation for Israel's killing of 3 of its operatives on Tuesday, and that they signaled the start of an ongoing campaign. I can't help but wonder, brothers and sisters, if Iran isn't somehow involved in this, I just have to look in that direction as well. I'll put the link below. Israeli aircraft hit targets in Gaza after rocket attack. Subscribe to my channel. God bless you today. No fear. No fear.